Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. So today, kind of different, but I'm gonna show you guys how I make videos. So first I start off with having a program like OBS as an example. I think this is recording itself. As you can see, it's going infinite. So you get a program like OBS and you create a scene. Let's just call this scene 2. Now this scene doesn't, well, as you guys can see, there's nothing on the screen right now. That's because we're in scene 2. Scene 1, there's video. Scene 2, there's not. That's because there's no sources, and I can't really show you this because you can't see it. But if I go to that little bottom, so if I just demonstrate here. So if I go to this button right here, click that, and go to screen capture. Now it says Pipewire on mine as I'm on Linux, but it should just be screen capture on Windows. You just create it. You select which window you want it to be. I have 4 monitors, but I prefer this one because it's the middle one. And you can show your cursor. Okay, and there you go. Screen capture. If I now remove that one. All right. So, and then I have something for my chat. I don't really know how to show you how to make it because mine doesn't really work. Like, it works, but it's really hard to read. I will do a guide on that if this video does well. And then I have my music, which is called Friday Vibes. Now this is in a file, fridayvibes.mp3. You want to make sure you have loop selected so that it loops while you're doing this stuff. Yeah. So after I have all that set up, I usually move it to another monitor. Or you can have it minimized if you want to. You do that by just clicking it. And then you open up your emulator. Now, for example, I use Waydroid due to... I use Waydroid because I'm on Linux, and the specific version of Linux I'm using supports it very well. But on Windows, you would probably use something like BlueStacks, as it's just the most convenient one for Windows. But I use Waydroid because it's literally just an Android device. And then I go to my One Punch Man account. Now I'm going to go to scene 2, so you guys can't see my login info. And then, I just log in, get all that done. There we go. So, and then once I'm all logged in, I have my OBS set up. I hit record, which is clearly a recording button. And then I just, start recording, start my intro. Not that that is particularly needed for YouTube. I just do it because I don't know, it's something I've done for a while. And then after that, I make sure to do the topic. I probably do a couple takes to make sure I have it all correct. Like, for example, I actually missed a couple days, but as an example, at some point I'll probably do a video. Actually, I might not even do a video on this event. You just kind of sweep this stuff. Anyway, so I record, I show off the features, I run through a couple of these things, I click some buttons, I show you the rewards, quests, this stuff. I actually just show it off real quick just to make sure that y'all know what it is. Yeah, and then once I'm done with that, I generally don't finish my dailies until way later because I'm stupid and I don't remember to do them. And then after that, I minimize, and I go to what the editor I use, which is Kden Live. However, you can use something like Clipchamp on which is a browser one. You could use any other programmed video manager. After you do that, you select the file you want. This is my unedited video library. Actually, I think this one is actually edited, but I think I had to edit it more. But my thing broke, so I had to edit that more. So I select a video. I don't know even. Oh, this is when I was doing that BP increase guide. This is the future me kind of clip when I forgot to mention this. Anyway, so then you just drag that down here. There's a snipping tool. You can snip away, remove things, delete selected item, move it over. I like to add a little fade in. Now, this is measured in seconds, so I like to add a little fade in and a little fade out, and then it fades in and out whenever I do things. And I don't know if you can hear. You probably can hear it, or no, you can't hear it. But if you just click this, me talking. So after I do that, I go to Project, Render, Render to File. I don't want to do that because I don't want this file on my computer because I kind of did random stuff. But you render it and then it just takes some time, does all the edits, and then you can just do that. So after I'm done editing, and it's in its own file, let me pull up YouTube really quick so I can show you guys this section and make sure I can do that without losing everything. Make sure this section is not unsafe. Seems safe enough. Okay, so after I do that, I go to my channel view, I go to create, upload videos, I select the video file I want. These are my edited videos. I kind of just name them whatever. Sometimes some of them make sense, some of them don't. I select the video. Let's just say Saitama Gift. I usually do some reusing details, so that way I don't have to type in all the tags. For example, I'll click this one. I'll upload a thumbnail from my OPMTS file. Let's just say this one for some reason. I add it to the playlist. And then I go next. Video elements. Checks. This takes some time if your video is longer. It processes it up to HD because I post my videos in 1080p. And then, all that jazz. And then when you're in here, you can set it to private, unlisted, or public. I just set it to public, but I'll set it to private. You save, or it says post if you have it, and then you're done. And then that's posted. Well, it's not posted because I didn't post it. But yeah, so that's generally my whole process. Outside of actually editing a thumbnail, which I'll quickly show you generally how I do that. So you grab a file. Let's say, for example, what am I thinking here? OPMTS. That's what I'll type in. No, that's not what I wanted. Brought up the wiki when I googled it. So let me just find an image. Not that one. Where is it? Where's a good One Punch Man based image? Not that one. So anyway, I'll show you this. So you select YouTube thumbnail because then it's the right dimensions. I keep it white because when you paste an image, it will put it above the background and not on it, which is a little annoying when it does that. Oh, I found one of my videos in here. Hold on. Where's the next one? That's Monkey. There's Druid. Where? My first video is kind of far in. There's not mine. That's K6, I think. Where's the next one? Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. There it is. There it is. There's another version. Anyway, so after I do that, and I get the image to full screen on there. So give me just a moment so I can find it. Let's use this image. So this image is what I found. I just Google OPMTS in this case. Sometimes I'll Google specifically what I need, or I'll take a screenshot in the actual thing. So then I take a text, which I use the font Luckiest Guy. It's free if you can download it or find it. And then I type in hero, just as an example text, X monster. And then I go to free transform, make it bigger, tilt it maybe a little. And then I cannot forget the most important part here, which is to control U, which brings up hue/saturation. This is different on a couple different things, but generally it's the same. I also use Photopea. I just like it. And I turn up the saturation to make the image more vibrant. As you can see, colors pop a little more. I turn down the brightness a little. I maybe change the hue a little bit to be a little darker. Then I turn up the saturation a little more. So once I have that, I make sure this text is white or whatever color I'm going for. In this case, it's going to be white. And then I'll go to blending. Usually I do a drop shadow. This was actually showed to me by Kazex. Shout out to him. I know he's not doing One Punch Man anymore, but yeah. So I usually set it to normal, and there we go. Now it has that little outline I usually use, and then I will Control C, Control V. There we go. X monster. Let's type in Metal Bat, just so that it keeps the same effects. And then maybe I'll want to blur the image. Maybe not to give away exactly what's going on. No, wait, hold on. Wrong layer. Or maybe I will just blur parts of it. This looks a little funky, but that's fine. So, or maybe I'd use the actual Hero X monster screen instead of using the battle screen. But, so there's that. And then I will typically add a glow effect. I usually use 66 opacity, size about there, normal, and then I pick white. I turn up the range a bit, and there we go. Nice and lit up. And that's generally how I make thumbnails. It's not exactly how I do it. Sometimes I'll also go through a filter, reduce some noise, and then I'll also filter, sharpen, just to make the image pop even more. It's not a great looking thumbnail, but it honestly isn't my best work. But this is generally how I make them. I won't put timestamps into this because I really don't. I'm kind of just putting this out so I have content done. And I don't want to save this, but you go to File, Save at, or Export as, PNG, and then you name it and you save it to the file you want to. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed that kind of interesting video. If you did enjoy, please remember to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Join the Discord server in the description down below. If you'd like to support me, please subscribe, share the channel around. Let me know if you want to see more kind of weird content like this that's not entirely related to what I do. Or that's not entirely related to gacha games, I suppose. Yeah, so hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.